If you don't already know who the girl group Little Mix is, don't worry. While you might be living under a rock, it may also have to do with the fact that you live in North America. Sure, they had an undeniable banger of a hit with Shout Out to My Ex, but that doesn't mean anyone knew the name of their group. So what's the deal? And why don't more people in North America know about these talented ladies? Well, we'll break it all down for you in this video, so stay tuned. First things first, for all you Little Mix newbies out there, let's tell you why they're so fabulous and a little about their backstory. All the way back in 2011, the girls, Jessie, Leanne, Jade, and Perry, met on the British version of X Factor. Sounds pretty familiar, right? That's because just one season before, the show produced one of the biggest boy bands of all time, One Direction. But unlike the guys of One Direction, the girls actually won their season. If you remember, the guys only came in third place. Pretty crazy, right? The girls started their rise to fame as solo artists in the competition, but as time went on, the judges decided they were more powerful as a group, thus creating Eurythmics, their previous band name. The name obviously didn't stick. Sadly, they ran into some legal issues because there was a charity by the same name. The ladies dropped their original moniker, and now we all know them as Little Mix. And if we're being honest, we couldn't see them any other way. Though they were relatively strangers when they first met, the group has seemed to band together like sisters over the years, not to mention the fact that they are a massive hit in the UK. There, of course, was that tabloid-flooded relationship between Perry and Zayn Malik. Seriously, pop fans were thrilled when they found out about the couple, and even more excited when Zayn popped the question after 2 years of dating. Unfortunately, it wasn't a relationship that was meant to last forever. Apparently, Zayn broke up with Perry after 4 years together, and he did it over a text message. Ouch! Even after all the headlines, the ladies have yet to make more than a small blip on the US radar. So what gives? It's not like they don't have an impressive track record as far as their music goes. Their 2012 debut album was nothing to sneeze at. Not only did DNA make it to the top 5 chart in the UK, but it did the same in 7 other countries as well. You might even be shocked to learn that one of those countries happened to be the US. That's right, you have no reason not to know who Little Mix is, especially since they were the first girl group since the Pussycat Dolls to do such a thing. We're looking at you, Fifth Harmony. Okay, to be fair, these two girl groups have never had an issue with each other, despite the fact the fans are always at each other's throats on Twitter. Even gossip magazines tried to stir up beef between them for years. We can understand why. They have similar rises to fame, and they were formed around the same time. But we are sure they are tired of being compared to one another. And now that Fifth Harmony is on hiatus, does that mean there's room in the US for a new girl group? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll get more into that later in the video. For now, we want to show you why it's still unbelievable that Little Mix isn't a household name in the States. Not only did they break records with their debut album in the US, but they knocked a particularly important British girl group off their throne. Before Little Mix dropped DNA in 2012, the Spice Girls held the record for the highest-ranking debut album, for a British girl group at least. This could be why ex-Spice Girl Mel C has thrown them some shade in the past. Listen, Mel, not everyone can hold their records forever, so give them a break, okay? The fact that they shattered their predecessor's record pretty much cemented Little Mix's rise to the top, so there was only one thing left to do: conquer the US. After their second album, Salute, did so well, everyone thought Little Mix was blazing a trail to be successful in America. But even after breaking onto the Billboard Top 10 list again, this proved to be much more work than the girls anticipated, which is still surprising considering Spin Magazine named it one of the top pop albums of the year. It still leaves us with one question: why haven't Little Mix been taken seriously in the American music market? It's not like there isn't a thirst for girl groups in the US, especially now that Fifth Harmony is off the scene. This is the land of the Pussycat Dolls, Destiny's Child, and TLC, so it's not like there isn't a market for it. Then there's the fact that women's issues are at the forefront of American culture right now. Just look at how big political movements like the Women's March are. So why hasn't there been more room for these British ladies to make it big in the States? It may have something to do with their marketing and the fact that it doesn't line up with the way American labels want to market them. According to a 2018 interview, the girls had a pretty tough time when they first came to America. Of course, they were young and new to the industry, but they still had their wits about themselves. During a radio event, the girls were told by their label to flirt with the VIPs. Mix. If you know anything about Little Mix, it should be that they are very adamant about women's issues. So saying something like this to any of the members will really strike a chord. They were upset and didn't think they had to flirt with someone just to get their music on the radio. This could have been their first big mistake. But is it really a mistake? Thanks to the hashtag #MeToo movement, more and more stories like this are coming into the light. Hopefully that means that whoever said this to the girls is no longer around to do the same to other girl groups. This isn't the only time the girls have had pressure on them thanks to their gender. Little Mix is a group of talented women. We all know that. What you may not know is that they like to be very hands-on, which means they wish to have a say when it comes to their image, and most importantly, their music videos. Over the years, it's been a struggle for them to have a voice when it comes to taking creative control of their videos. According to the group, their label basically told them to stay out of it, and that they couldn't write up ideas or have any input. Thankfully, it seems like those days are long gone for this group, especially after their 5th album dropped in 2018. When we tell you the ladies of Little Mix are powerful women, we aren't lying. If you're a 90s girl, you'll remember the girl power message from the Spice Girls. We'll multiply that by 10, and you've got Little Mix. Their 5th album, LM5, is absolute fire. No, seriously, it's really good. If you're a fan of girl power anthems, you definitely need to give this one a listen. With songs like Strip, which promotes positive body image, it's really hard to ignore the album. It also didn't take long for LM5 to hit the number 3 spot on the iTunes charts. Seriously, the world is paying attention to these ladies, so it's time that the US does as well. Another thing that could thrust Little Mix into the mainstream market in America is the fact that Fifth Harmony is now on an indefinite hiatus. They were the top-ranking girl group in the States for a while, and no one has yet to take their throne. And we all know Twitter stans were pretty much always at each other's throats. It was always Little Mix versus Fifth Harmony. But does the 5H hiatus mean there's finally room for the LM girls to take over? Music writers and mixers have been debating the question since Fifth Harmony broke up. According to Forbes magazine, the girls are already a ready-to-go package deal. It would be much easier for their label to focus on getting them into the US market than starting from scratch. Plus, who has time to put together a new girl group when there is a perfect one already formed? It's not like they haven't already made a splash in America. We couldn't get Shout Out to My Ex out of our heads for weeks. Same for their recent hit, Woman Like Me. Who the record labels should really be listening to is actually the fans, though there may not be nearly as many Little Mix fans in the US as there were 5H fans. That doesn't mean they don't exist. And we're pretty sure it would be easy to convert 5H fans into mixers. Just take a look at what they're saying about the topic. Many of the fans claim the girls better be the next big thing in the States. They think it's Little Mix's time to shine and think they have the charisma and talent to pull it off. Fans, as well as writers, agree that it may have to do with their record label. It's speculated that this is their last contract year with Psycho Records. For those of you who don't know, that's Simon Cowell's record label. We aren't sure why Psycho wouldn't do more for the ladies in America, especially when it means more records sold. But only time will tell if they sign with Psycho again or go a different direction. But even if that did happen, would the US market fully embrace Little Mix? There have been no issues with America welcoming British singers in the past. Just look at the mayhem the Beatles stirred up. Not to mention those well-known pop stars Adele and Ed Sheeran. And to be fair, Little Mix is as much stellar performers as they are singers. So they shouldn't have had such a hard time reaching audiences in the States. Their struggle may have something to do with the fact that there is only room for one top female group in America at a time. We aren't sure how or why this happened, but it's been going on since the early 2000s. Just take a look back when the Pussycat Dolls were on top. There was no one there to dethrone them. And for the longest time, Fifth Harmony was the girl group to beat if you wanted to top the American charts. Now that they're gone, it should mean that there's space for Little Mix. But it's gonna be much harder in America than it may seem. According to reporters in the entertainment industry, women have had it hard in the US. Not only do they make less money than their male counterparts, but they also have to work twice as hard. Just look at the fact that One Direction was such a huge hit, and they didn't even win their season of X Factor. Now compare them to the ladies of Little Mix, who actually won X Factor. One Direction was a worldwide phenomenon, but Little Mix can't even get a break on the other side of the pond. It's actually crazy when you think about it. Thankfully, there is no better time than now for them in America, even if it's going to be a long and bumpy road. So, will the ladies of Little Mix rise to the occasion? Or, after over half a decade of trying, is it too late? We love LM5, and we'd love to see this group finally get more respect in the US. The fact that we're even making this video has to be a step in the right direction, right? Can we all just agree that Little Mix has already proven their worth and done the work. It's their time to shine on the other side of the pond. And now that there is a lack of a girl group in the country that only has room for one, there is definitely space for Little Mix. So, our question to you is, what are you waiting for, ladies? So what do you think of Little Mix? Will they ever make it in America? Sound off in the comment section below. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That's all for now. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.